Cropping is a really powerful way to edit your images after you have already taken them. I'm going to go through some reasons why you might want to crop an image, some examples. I'm going to show you how to crop in PIXLR, and then I'm going to explain how you're going to do your assignment. So one reason why someone may want to crop their images is because you can't always get as close to your subject as you might like to. So cropping during the editing process can sometimes help to enhance your compositions. If you can't get super close to something like this picture of the snake on the stick, you could then go into your editing process and crop it so that you can see the detail of it. You have to be careful though, if you have a really low resolution photo, cropping might make it look blurred or distorted or pixelated. But if you have a nice high quality resolution, this shouldn't be a problem. A tight crop is when you crop something so that it actually goes outside of the frame. And it is okay to crop things or portraits when figures go outside of the frame if it helps enhance your composition. So by cropping this figure holding the candle, even though their body and their head ends up going off the top and left edge of the frame, it gives us a different feel or a different story on what we're supposed to be focusing on. A lot of times when you're in the moment taking a photo, it's easy to not notice distractions that might be in your shots. So during the editing process, cropping can help you make sure that your subject is the main focus. So taking out those things that are not as important to you and focusing on what you want the subject to be. You can also crop for rule of thirds. Remember that rule of thirds tells us that the most important elements are lined up on those intersecting grid lines, and cropping is an easy way to create a composition that has rule of thirds. So I'm going to show you how you can actually crop in PIXLR. So I have opened up this image of the orange, and it is right smack dab in the middle. And let's say I wanted to try to have a rule of thirds shot for this orange. If I click on the crop tool, the cool thing is that the grid lines appear. So if I wanted to try to make a horizontal photo that has rule of thirds, I can see right now that orange would be where those lines intersect. I could crop that to rule of thirds. Now, if I wanted to make a vertical image, I might have to move this crop around. Let's see if I can make it go into the upper thirds. I might need to make this a little bit bigger. It's a little hard because my composition doesn't quite match up. But you could see that sometimes you can focus on the rule of thirds both vertically as well. I could try this element. Now I'm focusing on a composition that's not centered directly in the middle of my image. So I'm going to go back and I am going to crop it horizontally because I did think that that was a good example of rule of thirds. And I'm going to save that because I want to show you how to complete this assignment. I'm going to rename this Mandarin Crop. In Google Classroom, I have given you an assignment on the power of cropping, and you'll notice that it says you are going to crop some wide shots in PIXLR to enhance your compositions. And you're going to insert the before and after images on the following slides and tell how the cropping improved the image. There are 3 blank slides included here, 1 slide for each before and after with text. The first slide is an example and does not count as your work. I would encourage you to try cropping to rule of thirds to help you have some things that you're proud of that are due next week. So here's one example. So I have my before image and my after image, and I have a little sentence telling me why the crop worked. So the cropping of this photo made the focal point more about the colored pencils and less about the rest of the art supplies. So to go to my blank slide, I can simply click Insert, Image. You're either going to find your images in Drive or in your downloads, depending on what you've done. Mine are in my downloads. So I'm going to add my original, actually that's my edited one, and my original. So Insert Image, there's that original. And I think what I want to do is position these in a way where my original is maybe here, and my edit is here. Maybe I can make my edit larger, so I can visually see the before and after. How did the cropping improve this image? I was able to crop this composition to showcase rule of thirds. Okay, so I would want to see 3 of your examples of cropping. When you are done, just make sure that you click turn in so I can see that you have finished the assignment.